Well, my message today, as you probably have read on Facebook or heard me say either, is called A Nation Divided. And it's a message this morning, I believe, of restoration and reformation. Restoration, of course, meaning to restore. Reformation being to reform or to change. I speak this message with great trepidation because I don't want to put anything out there that is divisive. My goal is not to speak a message on how divided our nation is and then divide the church in the process. Does that make sense? But I want to share my heart with you about kind of where I've been and where we've been as a church and what we've kind of been standing for. And I'm actually going to, I should have told you this earlier, Michael, I'm sorry, but I'm actually going to use that whiteboard. Did we put it over here? Michael, can you, Charlene will get it. Michael, you can stay at the board. Thank you, Charlene. Yeah, well, we can get it up here. There you go. 16 people going to pick up that whiteboard. I want to show you some things that have been God speaking to my heart, whether you are of the red party or the blue party, whether you're independent, there's even a party that's green party. But no matter what party affiliation or who you voted for or where you stand politically, I want to show you this morning where Jesus stood politically. Does that matter? I want to show you where Jesus stood politically because what has happened, thank you guys, appreciate it. Y'all, all right. Man, I like you. I don't know your name though. What's your name? Christopher. I like you, man. I like the way you're dressed. I like your swag. I think you would make a really great bodyguard for me, potentially. Because if you haven't noticed, I run my mouth a lot. I'm going to show you something here in a moment, but this last season of our country and politics, can I just get real straight with you? Is that all right? Y'all, the church has been played. One hand clap. Now, I'm not saying one party's wrong or one party's right. I'm telling you the church has been played. And the people that have used the church will drop the church just as fast as they picked us up. Do you understand me? In our political system, we reward not loyalty. We don't reward faithfulness. We don't reward any of that. We reward people who look out for themselves. That's the way our system is set up and our government is set up. If you look out for yourself, if you take care of your own interests, if you kind of go with the tide left to right, depending on how it's flowing, you will survive, you will make money, you will be successful, you will have power, you will have influence. Our system does not reward loyalty. Our system does not reward standing for what is right, even if everyone around you is going the other way. Do you hear me? Do you understand that our system is set up that if you don't vote along party lines, they get rid of you? So you don't actually have a vote, you just have a party? So we elect people to represent us based on their ideas or who they are, but then they go to Washington or they go to Tallahassee and a party tells them what to do, not their own thoughts or their own morals or their own compass. And the pressure of how our system and our society has been set up, I'm going to tell you this right now, has divided our nation not for the benefit of the people. It has divided our nation for the benefit of a few. I'm preaching something this morning. If you're trying to figure out where I'm going politically here, it's nowhere. I'm going to teach you where Jesus stood on politics. Jesus came into a corrupt system. The Roman government was corrupt. Jesus walked into a system, and instead of trying to change the system, you see, the church has gotten wrapped up in thinking that we have a position to play in politics. I want to unequivocally tell you this right now. Harvest Church will never, ever, ever, ever be involved in politics. Ever. Do you hear me? I will never prophesy who's going to get elected. Never have, never will. I will never direct you to vote a certain way. I will teach you the life and try to represent the passion and life and desires of Jesus when he was here on the earth, and you can figure it out from there on your own. But we will never be involved in politics. Why? Because we have the church in America especially has gotten so involved in the political arena that we've been swept into the madness of fighting, do you understand that our Capitol was stormed in the name of God? I'm getting real. Do you know that we have a wife of an executive worship pastor of community proudly on Instagram took a picture on top of a pedestal with a noose. Religious leaders in our own community. We had a doctor's husband from parish who stole the lectern and was parading through the halls in our own community. You say, why do I so passionately stand up for us to stay out of politics? Because politics is local. These people from our own community were there, representing professionals, representing the church. It was a proud moment for Sarasota Bradenton. Do you hear the sarcasm in my voice? Now, the last year, we have lost people, we have lost givers, we have lost donors, we have lost influence because I refused to endorse Donald Trump. I also refused to endorse Joe Biden. Let me show you why. Can I show you why? Is that all right? I'm going to go there. John 18:36. So Pilate entered his headquarters again and called Jesus and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews? Come here, tell me what you stand for. Who are you? What are you? What party are you a part of? What ethnic group do you belong to? They say you're the king of the Jews." Jesus answered, "You said this on your own accord." Jesus wouldn't be baited into it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? The church needs to follow Jesus on this one and say, hey, you said that, I didn't. I won't be led like a sheep to the slaughter. He says, you that said this on your own accord, or did others say it to you about me? Because you never heard it out of my mouth. Pilate answered, am I a Jew? Your own nation and chief priests have delivered you over to me. What have you done? I'm going to tell you right now, the minute we stand as believers in not being overtly political, the minute we say, we're not going to play your game, we're not going to be used as pawns for one party or another, the minute we say that, what happens next? They don't say, okay. The accusations come. Because the minute someone accuses you, what happens? You get defensive. That's what's happened here. If I wouldn't endorse one way, you guys are a bunch of, liberal whatever, blah, blah, blahs. And if I wouldn't endorse the other way or come out that no one could kind of figure out where I stood on the whole issue, then it was like, you're redneck, racist, blah, 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 blah. It's like, wait a second here. Actually, I'm neither. Actually, I stand where Jesus stood, which is you can ask the questions and you can throw out the accusations. I'm not biting your hook. Come on, do you see me here? So he says, Jesus answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would have been fighting. I'm going to sit over here. Y'all, we weren't called to fight. This whole arise and fight for our nation and storm the Capitol BS, I said BS in church, is not biblical. It never was and it never will be. Jesus said, if my kingdom was of this world, then I'd understand why we're all fighting. But my kingdom is not of this world. I won't be dragged into your man-made system. My kingdom is above it. And I want to show you this right here. It says, then Pilate said to him, so you are a king. Again, accusation. Guys, this has played out in the last 2 years in the church. If you wouldn't be clear, they accuse you of this or that. If you wouldn't come out and say, I'm this or I'm that, what happens? If I won't stand up here and say, vote for Donald Trump, let's be real. What happens? Baby killer. If I won't stand up here and say, vote for Joe Biden, what are you? You lock kids in cages. Do you see how you can't win? And why Jesus wants us to stay out of it? Yeah, vote, but stay out of it as the church. The institution of the church is higher and greater, and it's a completely different kingdom than some messed up system of this world. Oh, by the end of this, you're going to be clapping, I promise you. Because how many of you have really gotten real joy out of being involved in political discussions in the last couple years? Has anybody just thought to themselves, gone to bed at night and been like, that was fun, that 4 hours of back and forth on Facebook where my fingers feel numb and I just want to slit somebody's throat, makes me feel real good right now. I've never seen so many Christians not act like Christians in my entire life in the name of being Christian. So another accusation. So you are king. You didn't answer my question. I've had people say to me, Pastor Dan, you didn't answer my question. You a baby killer? Or you like to lock kids in cages? Boy, that sounds like a real fun. I want to step into that pool of piranhas. I'd love to do that right now. That's the way our system works. They want to corner you and force you to be one way or another. I'm going to show you what Jesus did here. He says, so you are king. Jesus answered, you said that. For this purpose I was born, and for this person I've come into this world to bear witness to truth. I don't care what your Roman government says. I don't care what the people say. I don't care if you think I'm Jewish, or you think I'm Roman, or you think I'm king, or you think I'm this, or you think I'm that. I've come into this world to bear truth, and whether the truth lines up with these people or that people, the truth is the truth. Come on. I love that. And Pilate said to him, what is truth? Do you see the political discourse here? Jesus, at this point, we're not sure what happened, but Pilate asks a question, Jesus doesn't answer. He's like, so what is truth? And Jesus just looks at him like. And then Pilate walks away. He never says anything else, and he walks out to the people. And essentially what he's saying to the people is, he wouldn't take the bait. What he says is this. He says, I can't find any fault in him. Do you see what Pilate's admitting in this moment? He's admitting my goal was to find fault with him. My goal wasn't to see if Pastor Dan feels this way or Pastor Dan feels that way or Pastor Jim feels this way or Pastor Jim feels that way. My goal was to find fault. And in politics, finding fault means we can separate and get voting blocks. It's all about power. It's not about truth. Well, I'm just asking you a question. Are you? Or are we out there allowing people to ask us questions where their intention is not to find out how we really feel, but their intention is to find fault? Because Pilate said, hey guys, I took him in there, I asked him the questions, he wouldn't answer, he just kept dancing around it, so I don't find any fault with him. I don't know about you, church, but I want to be a church where when we get to the place of judgment one day, that God says, you know what? They never got sucked into the madness. They always stood up for what was right. They never stopped feeding people, loving people, serving people, reaching out to people. Black, white, Democrat, Republican, didn't matter. They kept doing it, and they wouldn't get sucked into the system of this world. That's what I want to be. I'm going to show you this real quick. You all right with this? Is this too much? Let's see, what colors am I going to pick? Red and blue. Think green is a good one? Okay, well, take green out. I'm going to show you something. If you're this color, y'all know what I'm talking about here, right? Right? You say, well, I'm tired of dancing around this, so I'm just going to go for it, okay? Well, we're doing pretty good under Bush. And then Clinton got elected. And then he got elected again. And then Junior came in when he got back up to here. And then Barack Obama. And then Donald Trump, our savior. Being funny. And then, my God, who are these people, right? And this is our life. This is our emotions. This is whether or not we think we're going to be happy for the next 4 years. This is all sorts of stuff represented here. It's silly that we're allowing such an insane, corrupt system determine whether or not we think we're going to be successful or happy or joyful or want to live in this country or whatever else for the next 4 years. You get me here? Now, if you're this, Clinton gets elected. Gets elected again. See where I'm going with this? And then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And this is our country. Completely divided. Half the country think we're going to do great. Half the country thinking we're going to hell in a handbasket. Half the country thinking we've got, the descendant of Cyrus in office. Half the country thinking we've got the devil himself. This is Jesus. Hey, I came to establish a kingdom higher. And whether it's up or down, my kingdom goes like this. I don't know about you, but which party affiliation do you want to be? Because things are going to come and go here. Even the parties themselves are going to change and represent different values as we have seen. What do you want to be? What do you want to tie your life, your success, your emotions, your desire to get up in the morning, your relationships, your friendships, how you relate to family? Which one do you want to get a hold of right here? Because I promise you, God himself set us up for success if we'd follow the pattern of Jesus. He didn't give us something to fail and fail and fail. He said, listen, no matter what happens tomorrow or the next day or 4 years from now or whatever happens in our nation, whether it's red or blue or purple or whatever else, there is a kingdom higher than these kingdoms. And when I came into this world, I came to establish a kingdom that would rule and reign forever. Now, here's the thing. If you've gotten wrapped up in any of this craziness here and you've got relationships that have been cut off or you've cut them off or whatever else, the past is in the past. Own up to it. I've had to own up to it myself. Own up to it. Use humility like I spoke about a month about. Say I missed it. And let's move on and start realizing that there's something greater. Do you know that with the pandemic going on and the craziest political year of our lifetimes and all the stuff that's happening, that this church never, ever, ever stopped doing what we were called to do? When we couldn't have church, we had people pulling up that desperately needed groceries because the government was behind on helping them. They were losing their jobs left and right, especially in the service industry. We had people that have never needed help in their lifetime that in the last year have needed help, and this church was here to help them. Do you know that in the last year, our income as a church has dropped in half? Let your household income drop in half. See how you do. And we have managed. We've had to adjust staff. We've cut expenses to the bare minimum. We've done everything we can. We've cut back on advertising. We've cut back on a lot of stuff, but we've managed. Do you know what we didn't cut back on? Helping people. Do you know what never mattered? This. You're hungry? We feed you. You need a place to stay? We've got a place for you to stay. You're addicted to something? We got you. You're a mom with a baby? We got you. We've got you. We don't actually care about this because this church will never be down here. We will always be here. Why? Because down here is going to come and go. This will never change. So a lot of people have been confused on why we have seemed to be one of the only churches in town that wouldn't come out and say this or say that. It's not because we think that one party or the other is by any means the solution or perfect. It's because we realize that you don't win. And you don't win according to the kingdom of heaven when you decide you're going to put all of your marbles in some earthly, wicked, corrupt system here on the earth. It doesn't work. I have a guy that we've done ministry with before, years ago, just happened to be at the same conference. I won't get any more detail because I don't want to call him out, but I have preached messages specifically in rebuttal to something that a very well-known Christian leader has said, because I couldn't let it go unchecked. He's got over 100,000 on his Facebook. I have 4,000. I knew it wasn't going to be enough, but I couldn't stay silent. Especially when we were at the Sarasota Event Center over here, there were multiple messages where when I got up and I spoke what I believed God was saying for that hour for this church and for our community, I knew people would leave. It's not because I'm brave or anything like that. It's actually because I have to sleep at night. And I can't sleep at night selling myself out because our offerings will go up if I go one way. I can't do it. So I sat up there and I said some things that, people were like, hey, do you need to say that? Yeah, I do. Let me tell you why. Because there are too many Christian leaders with platforms who have been saying things they shouldn't be saying. And they've been endorsing stuff they shouldn't endorse. And now the chickens have been in heavy production because there's a lot of egg on the faces of a lot of people, especially those who call themselves prophets. You say to yourself, why? Why didn't this go the way of all the prophets? Are they prophets? I don't know. I'm not here to judge that. Why didn't it go the way? Weren't they hearing accurately? Let me tell you why. Because God never asked them to get involved. Are they bad? No. Did they think they were doing the right thing? Probably. Most of them good people. But God never invited them to get involved in an earthly system. When you're called to be a minister of the gospel, you're called up here, not down here. And when you go down here, even when you're doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing because you weren't meant to be down here. So this very well-known prophet wrote a book on the second term of Donald Trump. Prophesied for the last 6 years about Donald Trump. Now, whether you like him or not, it's neither here or there. You're missing the point. He shouldn't have done it. And if there's a minister out there who prophesied that Joe Biden was going to get elected, he shouldn't do it either. Let me tell you the result of these prophecies. Not only are millions and millions of people right now questioning if God even speaks, but they're questioning their own faith because they believed so strongly in what was being said by people they had respect for, and now they're wondering if God is even real. You tell me we've won. We were never supposed to get involved. And I've been saying it. I'm not trying to say I was right. I'm just saying I've been saying it, not because I didn't have my own personal opinions. My gosh, if you get me around the table and put some fried chicken in front of me, I will talk politics all day long with you. I'm very opinionated personally. But when it comes to publicly and the ministry of this church, we will never, ever, ever stoop to that level. You agree? Whoa. Let me read to you recently. Not only was this destructive for the people that followed this man, it's become destructive in his own life. No one benefited from this. Let me tell you what he wrote in the last couple of days. Over the last 72 hours, I've received multiple death threats. And this is after he came out and said I was wrong. I missed it. Thousands upon thousands of emails from Christians saying the nastiest and most vulgar things. These are Christians standing up for saying, you shouldn't have backed down, you shouldn't have admitted you were wrong. Some of the most vulgar things I've ever heard towards my family and ministry. I've been labeled a coward, a sellout, a traitor to the Holy Spirit, and cussed out at least 500 times. I've been flabbergasted at the barrage of continued conspiracy theories being sent every minute our way and the pure hatred being unleashed. To my great heartache, I'm convinced parts of the prophetic, charismatic movement are far sicker than I could have ever dreamed of. This is a man who is considered a general in the very movement he's referring to. I'm not finding fault with him. I'm telling you, he has enough guts to say it. I'm telling you right now, when we get involved, even if you think we're right, we're wrong. We were never supposed to be involved. Our goal, I'm gonna finish with this, I've got 2 minutes. Our goal and our mission as a church will remain the same the day before inauguration as it does the day after. Our mission and our goal, our focus will always be the hearts and the lives of people. People will always be our mission. Politics will never be our mission. Politics will never take precedence over people. Do you hear me? And we will never be silenced. We'll never be silenced. If you think there's an affront or the church is being attacked, we as a church, I can only speak from my own experience, we are more free than we've ever been to speak what God's called us to speak on. What we're not going to do is get wrapped up in things that will occupy our mind, our resources and emotions, that at the end of the day bring what this man wrote. Division, people losing the faith, hatred. The church has made their bed. And I'm telling you, Harvest, we will never go there. We will never go there. And we will not be roped in to the division. We have been called to bring people together under a banner that doesn't have a TRUMP or a BIDEN or a CLINTON. I know I'm spelling fast. It was one banner. It's a crimson banner of the blood of Jesus and his love that came to rescue humanity, that came to restore broken hearts, that came to reform a corrupt government system, that came to say there's a kingdom higher. That's who we are. That's who we will be. We will never, ever, ever be involved. If that scared you, you're going to live longer. Come on, will you stand to your feet with me? I'm going to read you this and we're going to get out of here because we got another crew coming in here at 11:15. That scared the heck out of me. Listen to me right now. You say, Pastor Dan, I want to read this to you. You say, Pastor Dan, it feels like you're shirking responsibility. It feels like you don't realize that we have a responsibility as the church, that things are on us. We got to stand up for what's right. Well, yeah, the problem is if I ask all of you in this room what's right, all of you are going to give me a different answer. Let me tell you why that logic is wrong. Isaiah 9, prophesying about the child to be born. For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon our shoulders. No. That word government actually means the responsibility and authority will be on his shoulders. And his name shall be called Patriot. Nope. Social Justice Queen. Nope. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and get this, the Prince of Peace. And listen to this. This is why this is biblical, this chart. This is some high-tech graphics right here, y'all. And, of the increase of his government, there shall be no end. Oh, I think the party is over. I think the days of Reagan, I think the party of Lincoln and blah, 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 and this is over and that's over. And if we give this up, then we're done. And if we don't hold our ground and if we don't fight and all this stuff that's going on, church. And the increase of his government, there shall be no end. Come flood, come fire, come famine, the increase of his government, there shall be no end. I love this in the Passion. I'll read this and then we'll be done. Child's been born for us, a son has been given to us, and the responsibility of complete dominion will rest on his shoulders. And his name will be the Wonderful One, the extraordinary strategist, the mighty God, the Father of eternity, and the Prince of Peace. Great and vast is his dominion. He will bring immeasurable peace and prosperity. He will rule on David's throne and over David's kingdom to establish and uphold it by promoting justice and righteousness from this time forward and forevermore. This is not a rebuke. It's an encouragement to humble ourselves and to realize, let's refocus. It's like if you're at the range and you're shooting a target, you've got your eye on the scope, and somebody bumps you. You're disoriented for a second. You got to bring it back and refocus. We're refocusing. Everything else around us can be going boom, 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 blast, blast, blast. We're refocusing. We've got a mission. Our target is simply to represent the beautiful life and love of Jesus to the world around us, period. You good with that? Love you. Go home. We love you. See you soon.